Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our webinar today. My name is Mairead O'Flynn, so you might have received a lot of emails from me already about the HRM, and we are very lucky to have James Duggan here today to talk us through the course in a lot more detail. I'm myself very passionate about human resource management. I kind of started my career more in the tech side, and then over the last 5 to 6 years started transitioning more into human resources, and now working in recruitment in UCC. But I just find that as a lot of you already know, probably working in it, or some of you that hope to move into it, it's just got such I suppose the impact that it makes on companies, and the different departments, and the variety that you can have in your career when you work in human resource management. It offers a lot of like variety, stability, and it really blends like people skills with strategy, with business insights. So it's a really great option for anyone that enjoys working with people, or like helping organizations succeed. So delighted to have you here today to learn a bit more. And everyone should hopefully be able to ask questions and be able to put their cameras on. I'm just going to allow for all of you in the next few minutes. I think it's currently disabled. So in the next minute or two, you'll get a notification that you can switch your camera on and you can ask a question. So James is just going to talk us through the program, and then we'll hand it over to you for Q&A. In the meantime, if you want to put questions into the chat or the Q&A, feel free, but we want this to be as interactive as possible for you to really get a chance to understand how this program can impact your future career. So I'll hand it over to you, James, and I'll go on mute.
Great, Maury. Thank you so much. And hi to everyone. I recognize the names here from emails over the last couple of days and weeks. So thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon, as Maury said, for this very brief lunchtime webinar, where we will focus on the Higher Diploma in Human Resource Management, really just providing you, I guess, with some key information about the program in this sort of more informal setting. Can sometimes be more helpful to talk things through, I think, rather than being back and forth on emails. So, and as Maury said, a good opportunity for anyone to ask any questions that they might have about the program too, a little bit later on. So my name is James Duggan, and I'm the program director for this program, this Level 8 part-time program. And I guess just to begin very briefly by welcoming you all to the Cork University Business School, where the Higher Diploma in HRM is hosted. So we are one of Ireland's largest business schools, with over 4,000 students across our undergraduate and postgraduate programs. We're a double accredited business school, and really importantly, I guess, from the HR perspective, for HR professionals, is that both of our HR programs here in CUBS, that's the Higher Diploma and also the Masters in HRM, both of these programs are accredited by the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, or the CIPD, which you might have heard of. So the CIPD is the leading professional body for HR professionals around the world, and it has over 160,000 members across the globe. So this professional accreditation, very important for HR professionals as they progress up their career, and also provides, I guess, almost like a stamp of approval for programs to ensure that what we're delivering, what we're covering on the program is current, it's up to date, it's really what's happening in the workforce right now. So this program then, what is it all about? So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it is a part-time program. It offers a level 8 qualification. It is heavily structured in that because it is part-time and runs across 1 year, you are here on the UCC campus for your classes and also for workshops. So there is some independent learning involved, but you are quite heavily interactive here with your lecturers and with your classmates on campus. So it's targeted primarily at early career HR professionals, or at those who are seeking to enter the HR profession for the first time. So if you are on this call today and you have absolutely no background whatsoever in human resource management to date, that is perfectly fine. You're very welcome on this program. Or likewise, if you have been working in HR or something related to HR for the last couple of years, maybe recruitment or learning and development, for example, but you're looking maybe to move more into this area or to target a more senior role in your organization or elsewhere, this program may also be of interest to you. So the program, quite comprehensively, I guess, is designed to cover the overall role and duties of the HR professional in any organization. Okay, so again, the accreditation by the CIPD helps us to achieve this, and also our alignment with the Society for Human Resource Management helps us to ensure that the issues and the trends and the developments that we're talking about across the 9 modules on this program are current and up to date. So again, it's a 1-year program. It's delivered part-time. It runs from September to August, so slightly different to the regular academic year. You begin with the rest of the academic year in September, but the program, because it does offer a level 8 qualification in just 1 year, it does run for a little bit extra throughout the summer months. So for example, this year, our current class who are completing the HDIP moments had their final lecture yesterday evening, and they have some final coursework to submit later in July, and then they're finished. So they're finished by the end of July, and will graduate in October of this year. So that's how the program works. And again, it offers a level 8 qualification upon successful completion, in addition to eligibility for CIPD associate membership for all those who successfully complete the program. So why enroll for this program? So again, I guess our goal with the program here, it is quite industry focused and practitioner focused. So we do try to cover the core functions of what it is to be a human resource professional and ultimately a HR leader at some stage in contemporary organizations. So we focus on the latest developments and the key issues that are impacting organizations, both here in Ireland, but also internationally around the world in multinational organizations. We also focus on equipping all students with the knowledge, skills, and behaviors that are required by responsible, ethical, and effective HR professionals in the modern workplace of today. We strive to achieve a balance between applied and practical business skills. So ultimately, this is an academic program, but compared to something like a master's qualification, there is a stronger professional industry focus on a program like the Higher Diploma. And to help support this, we also have a wide range of industry guest speakers on the program. So sometimes those guest speakers co-deliver a module with one of your lecturers here in Cubs, and sometimes they interact for guest sessions or for workshops or for role play scenarios or whatever it might be. Okay. So throughout your time on the program, you are also in active student membership of the CIPD. Your fees, which I'll speak about in a moment for the program, include CIPD student membership. And with that, then we have a very active Southern region branch of the CIPD, which covers Cork and the Greater Munster area. With that active membership, you are eligible to attend all CIPD events held by the Southern region here during your time on the program. So a program overview then. So very briefly, I won't talk in too much detail through all the different modules in the program because you can find all of that information on our homepage on our website. But across the program, students take 9 modules, and that adds up to 60 credits altogether. And as you can see by some of the modules and the topics that I've included on the screen here, these are, I guess, quite broad initially in covering the remit or the scope of the HR function, and then they focus in to really target specific functions of HRM. So from recruitment and selection to performance management to rewards, employment relations, and so on. Okay. One of the most common questions that we get asked by applicants for the program is about the assessments on this program. So you might have been out of education for a long time, but also almost everyone on this program is working full time. Okay, so having examinations we know can be daunting, it can be challenging. That is why on this program, all modules are assessed via continuous assessment throughout the year. Okay, so it's important to note that there are no formal examinations on this program. All assessments for all modules are assignment based, either individually or collectively in groups. So that can include essays, reports, case studies, role play scenarios, group presentations, and so on. Okay, but there are no formal examinations on the program. Okay, so delivery and schedule then. Another common question that we're asked, understandably. So this program, again, is part-time across 12 months. Most students work full-time while completing the program. Okay, so one thing that's important to note, I guess, and very important to note for people who might be commuting from beyond the Cork city area, is that attendance on campus is essential as part of this program. And you can see from the schedule here that we ask that students are present on both Monday and Wednesday evenings during term time for sessions for your lectures. Those lectures begin after the typical working day at 6:30 p.m. and they run until about 9, sometimes 9:15, up to 9:30 the occasional evening, throughout the regular term time. So typically for those 3-hour blocks, they begin with the lecture, and then for the second half of class, they move into something more interactive, group work, case studies. We may have an industry speaker who'll work with you for the second half of the class. And then in addition to your regular Monday and Wednesday sessions, we also have a smaller number of Saturday workshops on the program. So typically no more than one per month, totaling about 7 or 8 throughout the entire year. And these run on Saturday mornings normally from about 9:30 up until just after lunchtime. Okay. So we do not currently offer a hybrid or a virtual attendance option for most of these classes, unless the weather is like exceptionally bad or something like that. Other than that, attendance on campus is required, in-person attendance is required. So that is important to note. Now, look, it's also important to say that, you know, we live in the real world, and we understand that it's not always possible to attend classes in person. So that's not something that's enforced or anything like that by us. It's just encouraged. If you cannot attend any class or any session that you might have to miss out on, your resources for that class, your lecture slides, your readings, and other resources are always available to you on our online learning platform on demand. And you can also catch up directly with your lecturer or with your classmates. Okay, so the entry requirements for the program then. So for this program, we ask that all applicants have a minimum of a level 7 qualification. This can be in any discipline whatsoever. So again, you do not have to have a background in HR. You don't even have to have studied business previously to enroll on this program. It can be in any area whatsoever. Okay. And we also ask that all applicants, in addition to this level 7 qualification, have at least 2 years of professional work experience. And again, this can be in any area whatsoever. It doesn't have to be related to business or management or HRM. Okay. It can also be an accumulation. So if you are newer to the workforce, or if you've been out of the workforce for a while, for whatever reason, if you have been on year-long contracts or 6 months contracts or whatever it might be, you can combine those to accumulate up to 2 years. And that is also acceptable to meet the entry requirements for the program. Okay. If you are looking at these requirements on the screen and you do not meet them, or you're worried that you might not meet them, we also offer an alternative entry route for this program, okay, through the recognition of prior learning process. So we can also consider applicants who have a level 6 qualification. Okay, again, this can be in any discipline whatsoever, provided that those applicants also have some sort of professional experience either in HRM or a related area. So employment relations, coaching, training and development. You might have a background in some recruitment. You might have been a team leader, have some leadership experience, have some junior managerial experience from your previous roles. Any of those things can be considered as part of the recognition of prior learning route, in addition to your level 6 qualification. Okay. So if you are unsure of what your current or previous qualifications might be, okay, if you've been out of education for a while, that's completely understandable. So what we work off here is the National Framework of Qualifications, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. So we ask typically that applicants have the level 7 qualification. So you can see on the matrix here that that amounts to an ordinary bachelor's degree, but we can also consider those with the level 6 qualification. So you can see there that typically includes an advanced certificate, a higher certificate as well. Okay, so if you have any queries or you're unsure about your eligibility to apply for this program, please do get in touch with myself or Mairead, and we would be very happy to try to help you out with that. Okay, so just some final information here then on the program. So some practical information, I guess. So the next intake of the program is this coming September. The first evening of lectures will be on Monday, the 8th of September. The fees for the program at present are €5,397, typically payable in two installments rather. And this fee also includes CIPD student membership for the entire year. And as mentioned, that allows you to access resources on on the CIPD website, and also to attend some local CIPD events here in the Cork region too. So applications are reviewed for this program and offers are issued on a rolling basis. So we typically encourage people to apply early, just given the time of the year that we are now approaching. So we're into July, and given that we start in early September, we can accept applications for a couple of more weeks, but the process, I guess, will then be starting to wind down. So we would encourage you to apply, I guess, as soon as you are ready to do so, if you would like to secure a place on the program for this coming September. Progression and pathways, then just a final note here, I guess, for those of you who are thinking about next steps in your career or your educational journey beyond this program. So the most popular progression route for graduates of the higher diploma would be a master's degree in any area, typically in human resource management or organizational psychology or coaching or whatever it might be. Most master's degrees will require that you have a level 8 qualification. Okay, that is what the HDIP can offer you. All right. And also then graduates of this program have gone on to work in HR roles nationally and also internationally across domestic and multinational companies, as well as in the public sector. So that, I guess, is some of the key information about the program. Again, applications are open. We would love to hear from you. You can find more information on the Human Resource Higher Diploma webpage. You'll access that by scanning the QR code on the screen here, or you can also apply directly on the UCC Apply website, and the web link for that is available on the screen here too. Okay, so with all of that information in mind, I'd be very happy to hear from anyone that has any questions. I know, Marie, you're keeping an eye in the chat box there, but feel free also to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you might have.
Just while we're waiting for that as well, James, I wanted to mention to everyone that I know as part of this webinar, we said that we would send out waiver codes. So I have the people that registered on the event details, and I'll be sending out the waiver codes afterwards. Now, there are some people, their names don't look familiar, but it may be that their email address is different to what their name is here. So feel free, if you're a bit concerned that maybe you didn't register or you might put down a different email address, to just put your email address in the Q&A box or send it to me in my email, and I'll just make sure that you get the waiver code as well. Perfect. It's very quiet. So is there any questions?
Hi, Marie and James. Thanks so much for the webinar. I just have a question on trends in HR. If you see things kind of going in any one direction, I feel like a couple of years ago, it seemed like, I think the master's programs anyway, that I knew a few people that were involved in, it seemed to weigh heavily on metrics. And I don't know if that's stepped back a bit since then, or is there anything in particular you see kind of being covered nowadays, whether it's about AI or anything like that, just as a matter of interest?
Yeah, thank you, Regina. Really good question, and one that we're always looking at, I guess, every year on the program about what is changing and what is happening. It's a very live area, I guess, the world of work at large, not just HR at the moment. And I think really the key trend that we're seeing in HR, you mentioned it there in your question, very much focused on AI, analytics and algorithms, really becoming more and more impactful. And I guess we reflect that in the course content across some modules. So when we're looking at something very traditional like recruitment and selection and how those practices have evolved over time, it's also important, I guess, to consider where we are right now with, the use of AI, not just to write job applications, but also for organizations to be able to screen those applications and recommend suitable candidates and so on. So it's a very interesting area. There are some, I guess, difficulties or challenges there around being ethical and being responsible. And those are also things that we try to address in the program. And I think rather than us just speaking about it in class or discussing the research around it, our engagement with industry speakers, so HR leaders who are sort of dealing and contending with these challenges day to day, hearing their insights on them can be really eye-opening as well, and help to equip us all, I guess, for what the future holds for the people management profession. But yeah, really good question. And then some other ongoing trends, you know, the war for talent is ongoing. It has been for a number of years, and finding, hiring, and then keeping or retaining good staff. Any HR leader at the moment will tell you is such a challenge, regardless of the type of organization or industry that you're in. So yeah, really good question, Regina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions about either HR or about the program specifically? Be very happy to take those.
Hi, James and Mairead. I've actually applied for the course last week. So I was just wondering, James, of the turnaround time on it. How does it work? So I have a QQI level 6, and I'm working in a HR role at the moment, and have been for. I've 8 years experience in recruitment, and over 2 years in human resources. So I'd be kind of going in on the professional entry kind of side of things with my QQI level 6 in HR. I was actually speaking to you on it last summer.
Oh,
So
fantastic. Yeah.
I just wondered, James, what's the process for me? What's the turnaround time on it? Would it be an interview, and then like how long will I know before I'll be accepted, and if everything's okay?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So thank you, and thank you for the application. So typically, I guess, and Mairead might be able to advise on the timelines at the moment, but typically we have very few delays with the application process. What can happen at this time of the year, I guess, is just around people being on annual leave. So sometimes, you know, they can sit in the system for a couple of days before being processed. But typically, you know, within around a 2-week time frame, you know, you're either receiving a conditional offer or a full offer, or in your case, you might be just invited for a chat with the program team via video call, just to discuss, I guess, you know, your current role and your professional experience. That's just part of the process of recognition of prior learning. But if you have a level 6, and if you are currently working in the HR domain and have been for a while, then there should be absolutely no issues whatsoever with your application. Mairead, I'm not sure if you can advise on the process of timelines and so on beyond that.
Yeah, I'm actually going into the system now and looking and making sure there's nothing outstanding.
Brilliant.
But generally, the 2-week time frame what you mentioned is exactly kind of what we're working towards. Everything, it looks like, has been submitted, so I think it's a matter now of just the other team that deal with the applications of getting it reviewed. So I think it's in since everything was submitted on the 27th. It was marked as submitted.
That's right.
So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it should be relatively soon, hopefully, again, just with annual leave at this time of the year before it actually arrives on our desk for the program team. It just, as Mairead mentioned, it passes through a few sets of eyes first. But yeah, hopefully you should hear from us very soon. And if there are any delays, please do feel free to get in touch with either Mairead or myself
That's
directly,
perfect.
and we can chase up on that for you.
Great, James and Mairead. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Looking forward to having you.
Absolutely.
Aileen did put in a question. This is, I think, what everyone wonders, like how many hours study is recommended on top of your in-person attendance. So how many hours are you putting in on a weekly basis when you're trying to balance your own job and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. Really good question. And look, I'll be completely honest, and I was discussing this with last night's class, who are just finishing up. For anyone applying for the program who reaches out and chats to us directly, I would always say that, like, the program is demanding. It is part-time, but it really, I guess, is on, you know, the far end of what a part-time program is. So you are here 2 evenings a week, usually one Saturday per month. And then outside of that, I guess the expectations can vary week to week, depending on if you have deadlines coming up. You don't have deadlines every week or anything like that. You typically have 1 or 2 pieces of assessment per module, and you've got 3 modules per semester. So 3 from September to Christmas, 3 from Christmas to Easter, and 3 from Easter until you finish up in the summer. So you can sort of add up, I guess, how your assessments fall throughout that. Towards the end of semesters, of each semester, there can be a busier period, I guess, where you're working on assignments and coursework. But you know, I would say that's sort of to be expected maybe in any academic program when you're working towards deadlines. Week to week, outside of deadlines, what you typically will have in preparation for each lecture or during the week of that lecture is usually 1 or 2 readings in preparation for class. And we increasingly try to make available, podcasts or video materials that cover similar types of materials, so that if people are out for a walk, out for a run, or they don't have time to sit down and read a document, that they can listen to a podcast on their own time instead. So it varies person to person, but for each lecture, we would typically say, there's probably 1 to 2 hours of prep, either in advance of the lecture or following up after the lecture per week. So I hope that helps to clarify your question. Of course, we understand there are weeks when that's not possible if you're really busy at work. We always understand that. And I would say if your previous studies have been at undergraduate level, the entire, I guess, setup of a program like the Higher Diploma is very different because everyone is already working full time. So this is something that you're doing on the evenings, on the side, for professional reasons. So we do very much consider and take into account everyone's circumstances with that, and we will support you in any way that we can too.
And I do know from my previous experience working in VMware that a number of people every year from our team in talent acquisition would go and do this course. And I suppose as you're learning as well and you're working in that environment, it was hard not to bring the two together. So already I felt like as people were learning new skills, they were implementing them, which I think then sets in stone the learning as well, that you actually get the opportunity to kind of do both at the same time.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah. And again, I'm conscious of my role as program director about, saying what the program is like and so on. So I always prefer to lean back on our graduates and our current students, and hearing from our students last night, the common theme, I guess, and their feedback from the program was a really busy year, but so fast, really flew by. But also really importantly for us, I guess, is that everyone really felt like they had gotten what they wanted to get out of the program, both personally and professionally, in terms of, building up their CV, moving roles, switching roles, whatever it might be. And that's what's important. So a program like this, you really enroll, I guess, because you have a goal or an ambition for what you want to achieve from the program. And again, that's it's not always easy on those Monday and Wednesday evenings, particularly in the winter time. It can feel like a bit of a slog at times, but there is usually a really fantastic dynamic in class. Everyone is from different backgrounds. Everyone learns from each other, and it is very much not a scenario of sitting there for 3 hours while the lecturer speaks at you. They're very, very heavily interactive classes, and we try to design them in that way so that we learn in real time and that everyone learns from each other. You're not just, it's not a one-way scenario, essentially, is our goal.
Definitely. And the other thing I wanted to add is that when I was made redundant from VMware and I was looking for new jobs, the CIPD qualification was listed on almost every job I felt I was qualified for, and I was like, damn, I wish I had done this program when I was in when I had the opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing we ask in our induction session is September is, why are you here? Like, what's your motivation for being here? And the amount of people that very honestly say, I need a CIPD accredited qualification to progress in my role, or to become more senior, or to join the leadership team for the HR group. It really, really is so important. And some of you might be familiar, have colleagues or friends who engage with the CIPD in the southern region here. As I mentioned, they are very active in terms of hosting events. Those are typically sort of information sessions, seminars, but they're also really beneficial networking events. So if you're based in Cork, Cork is famously small, I guess, in terms of its business community. So meeting other HR professionals, other leaders from different organizations can be really beneficial for your own professional growth as well. And we always find that students enjoy those events, and they sort of gain confidence in their career from those events as well.
Super. I think that's all their questions. I don't see anything else coming through.
Fantastic, Maureen. Well, look, if you are still thinking about the program, or you have any follow-up questions, you can see my contact details on the screen here. You'll also find them on the website, jamesduggan@ucc.ie. So please do feel free to get in touch at any stage. As I mentioned, we will be accepting applications hopefully for another couple of weeks throughout this month and hopefully into early August. So please do get in touch if you have any questions, and I'd be more than happy to chat through any queries that you might have. And again, thank you, Murray, for organising, and thank you everyone for attending and for your questions.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, everyone, for attending. And I will be sending out the waiver codes almost immediately after this, as I will be going on holidays myself. But if you don't get one in the next hour, just please, my email address is there. Send me an email and I'll just make sure that you have it before I head away. And also the recording will be sent out probably, it could be tomorrow if we get it up on YouTube on time, or it might be next week, but you will have that as well. So again, thanks very much, and we hope to see you in September.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone.